Friday, December 23rd, 2022. Welcome to a new backcountry snowpack summary brought to you by North Shore Rescue. I really hope that you had a chance to go out this week and enjoy this amazing winter weather and light snow that we had. This came maybe as a bit of an early Christmas present. And now, unfortunately, I think that the cold slinging is about to begin and the weather is going to change quite dramatically. Now, the two things that you should have learned from last week's video is, one, you don't necessarily want to trust everything the so-called experts are saying on YouTube. Only expecting a little bit of extra snow on top of that. And second, that avalanche forecast can only be as good as the weather forecast that was used to produce it. So if some guy on the internet is telling you that the avalanche hazard is not going to change much because we're only expecting a couple of centimeters, and you show up at the trailhead to 40 centimeters on the ground, you probably want to question that source a little bit. Now, that said, we did get quite a bit more snow than expected, and it did fall onto a fairly weak surface. And despite that, there is really no avalanche activity to speak of too much during the week. So if you want to know what that's about and how come we didn't get an avalanche cycle and how things are going to change quite a bit with the incoming system, please stick around for the snowpack discussion. We picked the site on northeast aspect at around 1,300 meters. And so what we have, like here on the top, is the new snow. So that's the snow that fell last night. We have 8 centimeters here. It's still nice and soft, but it's definitely a little bit denser than what's underneath. So, and down here at 30, 35, we have the crust that we had close to the surface last week. So during the last storm, earlier last week or last weekend, we got about 45 centimeters of snow, and that snow actually settled down now to about 30. And that's the snow that's here. Still not super cohesive, really quite soft, and it's sitting on this crust. And last week we had a good look at this. We had some facets there, some surface hoar, and a supportive crust underneath. Now, the reason we didn't really get an avalanche cycle, even though we did get 45 centimeters of new snow sitting on a pretty poor surface, was that the snow was so light that it didn't actually form into a slab. So in order for slab avalanches to happen, the snow crystals need to hold on to each other, and it was just too light. So while we're skiing or snowshoeing around, what happened is the snow just moved out of the way and it never actually managed to propagate into a slab. That said, we did get some dry, loose avalanches, but everything was really light. Now, what's going to happen with the weather that's coming, today we're probably going to see a little bit more accumulation of snow. And then it's supposed to turn into quite a bit of rain with freezing levels shooting all the way up. So I don't really see any possible scenario where we're not heading into a widespread avalanche cycle, probably tonight or maybe tomorrow, where all of this light snow is going to get loaded with a bunch of rain. It's all sitting on a crust. I'd be very, very surprised if that actually stayed in place. So for the weekend, if you absolutely must go out and be in the backcountry, you know, keep in mind that these are going to be very difficult conditions to be around. There will most likely be a natural avalanche cycle somewhere. during that period of time, and rescues are going to be very difficult. Keep in mind also, these are the shortest days of the year, so a good motto to have is no mistake after lunchtime. We were involved in a number of night rescues this week. These people, fortunately, were lucky enough to have good conditions, so NSR was able to move in with night vision goggles and night flying. This will most definitely not be the case for the weekend. So that's all I have for this week. Merry Christmas, stay safe, stay smart, and we'll see you just before New Year's.